Kong Skull Island. That was another example I thought of where John C. Reilly's character and a Japanese pilot, they both crash on the island.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on you find out they became friends. I'm like, yeah.
I thought you were going to say Brie Larson had to work with King Kong. These are the patron takes for The Enemy. For every episode of Star Trek we watch and discuss, our patrons also get to let us know what they think. If you want to take part in this, go join the Patreon.
2 Geordi episodes in a row. #blessed. I never would have thought. I really never would have thought. I thought it was going to be another 2 seasons before we saw another Geordi episode.
Yeah, how stupid do I look after saying after last episode, I was like, it'll probably be a while. They were probably all laughing at me.
I mean, that's the curse of us. We say, like, oh, I'm really hoping for this, and then it happens.
Yeah, we were actually in a universe where it was different, but as soon as I said that, we jumped universes where everything's the same except the Geordi episode was moved up to episode 7.
True. We just did a Mirror Mirror Universe episode, so...
In early drafts of the script, Troy was also trapped on Galorndon Core. Marina Sirtis saw this as an example of her character remaining underutilized and underdeveloped.
I think it's true, because I feel like when they do give her the reins and let her be the counselor to everyone on the ship, I feel like it does well. Because in this episode, she only said 2 things, where Picard turns to her, what do you think? Okay. She needs another episode, I think, because when it's her and it's her story, she's great, in my opinion. It's only with all the other stuff where she's just like sidelined and like spouting the obvious, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, not an episode for her here, although I would say having her down there, what would have been the fit? Like, she just would have been an odd third wheel with Geordi and this Romulan. So...
Oh, you feel like this? Yeah, I know how I feel.
We got to get out of here.
Get out of my head. Yeah.
Yeah, so that wouldn't have really worked, I don't think, either. I get why they didn't go that way, but yeah, she's had great moments this season. I hope to see more.
Yeah, I don't know if this episode would be the best for her, but she would have had a scene with Worf instead of Riker, but I'd rather have Riker because I like that Riker-Worf friendship. Well, you guys have been waiting for an official Romulan episode. You got it. I'm sure there's going to be a good bit of debate in the comments about if Worf's decision was right or not to mention the Romulan wanting death rather than Klingon blood in his veins. I do like that Picard didn't order Worf to do it, but still tried his best to get Worf to see things in a different way. Yeah, for sure, that adds so much to Picard's character, how he's humanitarian, he doesn't want to be a dictator and force this, and he knows Worf's backstory, and him not forcing that on him was a really great moment for him.
Yeah, I have like a curse of saying things in the post-reaction discussion where I'll be like, I can't wait to talk about that in the discussion, and then we just don't bring it up. We didn't really talk about that. What did you think about his decision, Picard's decision to not force him? Because in a way, things worked out, but like in a way, it's almost like Picard put his personal principles of not forcing Worf to do it over the safety of the crew. Like, had that Romulan not died, he could have forced Worf to do it. Worf said he would have, listened to the order, and that could have saved them, but he chose personally, he's not going to force him to do it. And I always get very interested in what people think, because, when you're in Starfleet, similar to like a service, right, like serving your country or whatever the, comparison would be, you have an obligation, that you sign up for, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like for the captain of the Enterprise, one of those obligations is the safety of your crew. So like making a choice like that isn't necessarily putting their safety first, but I understand that there's a line, that you're not going to cross. Like, he wouldn't kill Worf to save the crew. So what do you think about that?
I just feel like there's other examples of Picard following that same motive mantra of not pushing that where I'm forcing you to do this, or I can't think of the exact episodes, but I feel like it was very much within Picard's character to do that. Where there's other examples where he goes too far in another area where it's like, because he has faith in something. I got to pull up the exact episodes, but it's like, this feels familiar. It feels like Picard. I understand. Where it's like, where everyone else is like out, or everyone else is on the other side, Picard's still like, nope, we're still going to do it this way. But it's also, Picard is also very by the book sometimes. So it's definitely, he's one of the most fascinating characters in my opinion. Like, there's sometimes where I'm watching, I'm like, I don't know what he's thinking.
It seems he really has, like, one of his biggest morals, it seems, is like personal choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he never wants to take away anybody's choice. And of course, like, he has to order people to do things. He's the captain. But when it comes to something that's really personal, he's okay with, like, not necessarily putting the crew in direct danger, but okay, we're going to try to find another way out of this, rather than I'm going to force you to do this to get out of this, and I respect that a lot. It's just a very, like, I hope they keep that up. Like, I hope they keep that continuity because, different writers come in and whatever, and, I hope that they don't change that. But it seems like these actors from the Patron Takes we've read and stuff so far, the actors care about these characters. And I think that if someone came in and tried to write Picard in a way that didn't make sense, Patrick Stewart would probably be like, well, this doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I've heard in like acting classes, especially in TV shows, like as the actor playing a character, you have a responsibility to that character. If someone like writes something, it like it breeds discussion and debate, and like you have a right to that character because you also know that character just as much as this writer, and give your input. Like, hey, I'm not sure if I would do this. I'm not sure if me as this would do this, and I think that's great if they do that because that's awesome.
Unless you're Dr. Crusher, and then you get fired apparently for doing that.
But they brought her back.
Yeah, they brought her back. Yeah, they got rid of that guy.
It works in the long run.
Yeah,
she finished the story.
But I totally get it for a long-running TV show versus a movie. Like the actor being too, in a movie, like trying to change the script. It's like, it's a movie. Just do the character.
Yeah, with a long-term TV show with character development, like long-term, I feel like you have to do that. And back to Picard, I feel like Picard wants his crew to be better people because he wants them to be better people. Like, yes, he wants to save lives, but he also knows Worf, his history. He's like, I want you to be better for you. He's like, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, the whole Wrath of Khan. Like, it's similar to that, but he also is like, he's like, I know people are about to die, but it's like, God damn it, Worf. It's like, you got to get past this. I want you to be better. He just wants better for his crew. And he's willing to have them all die.
That's what it takes.
Everyone's going to die, but God damn it, Worf, you're going to be a good guy.
He's willing to start the next Federation Romulan War.
But you're going to be a good guy, Worf.
The plot has some similarities to Enemy Mine, a movie that you discovered in high school and also did a rewatch reaction here on Patreon. Feel free to insert a plug for that reaction here if you haven't already. Thanks, Dion.
Thank you so much. We will do that. Very solid episode with some great character moments for Geordi, Worf, and Picard. Though it's controversial, I really like the subversion of our expectation that Worf will eventually come around and agree to the blood transfusion. I love that choice. Just when you can play with my predictability, some parts I was right, like, oh, Worf's going to be the only compatible one. Saw that coming. But when you can flip it on my head and be like, oh, no, he doesn't do it, bravo. Because I totally thought it was going to be like, oh, look, Captain, I did do it. Laughing on the bridge. But no, didn't do it. Love it.
If nothing else, I assume you are impressed with Geordi's upper body strength. Free climbing that rock face. No hollow girlfriends needed. I was impressed.
It was great.
He's just like no legs at all, just going all the way
up. I've tried doing those peg boards in high school. I'm like, this fucking sucks. This is hard. So he's definitely been studying the tapes of Captain Kirk free soloing.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
There's a scene in Ahsoka where like Ahsoka's training and there's a hologram of like Anakin talking to her. So I wish there was a similar scene of like Geordi training and a hologram of Kirk is like, you can do this, Geordi. I believe in you.
I think you come up with a situation for Kirk to be in every episode. Like,
I love Captain Kirk.
He is great. He is great.
Any chance I can bring up William Shatner. Okay, guys, another Geordi ep, and you got Romulans. This story is very much like the movie Enemy Mine. I hope you guys catch Picard mentioning the needs of the many, and I think you will like this one. Yeah.
You did catch that.
I caught that. I'm like, oh, shit. I do like that movie. I do like that movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good film.
And I love that I love that line. I like how they, like, this whole episode was like a throwback tribute to a lot of things a little bit. I don't know.
And I'm glad that we are far from the only people that made the Enemy Mine comparison, so I'm glad we're not stupid.
We saw like 2 or 3 different comments, so that's great.
I predict you guys are going to go nuts over this one. It's going to be one of your favorites of the season, if not the series. We get to know the enemy on a personal level as never before, and we get to know ourselves better through the characters when our noble Federation ideals are challenged by the harsh realities of war. This is Star Trek at its finest. I 100% agree, and we didn't necessarily go nuts in like a reaction sense. Like, oh, we did have a big reaction at the reveal of the Romulan dying. That was a great twist.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely would say I would throw this in there as absolutely one of my favorites of this show. But, even TOS included, like this is one of those ones that I'm like, wow, I'm troubling to even like come up with something I didn't like. There was the Data thing, which I guess I haven't mentioned in the discussion. So just to say again, the fact that Data didn't do really anything in this episode and being Geordi's best friend, I wish he would have seemed a little bit more concerned. But I have to remind myself, he's Data, he's an android. They can't make him seem like sad necessarily, but he's admitted to having somewhat of emotions before, or they just couldn't. At the end of the day, they couldn't fit it in here, so it's not really even a negative.
It's like if they put Data in there, they would have taken out Riker's scene. It's one or the other.
Yeah,
I wish this Romulan that was down with Geordi opened up a little about himself, maybe with a little more runtime, similar to Enemy Mine, where they both learn about each other.
yeah,
We don't know anything about this Romulan. Like, I'd like to
yeah.
know his motivations. We didn't really get anything revealed about the Romulans. Why were they there, really?
I mean, obviously they were just messing around and it went bad.
Yeah, I'd like to know, like, this guy's whole story. And it's like, oh, I grew up with this whole, well, just a little more humanization from him.
Yeah,
But
maybe even just in that one moment where he does drop the phaser, when Geordi says, there are moments where you should die over your ideals. Is this one of them? And maybe he could have had a little monologue there, like drops the phaser and it's like, my whole life,
Yeah.
kind of do a little monologue.
Maybe if he, if it would have been a great scene, if he dropped the whole facade of him being, like, a tough Romulan, it's like, this is my first mission. You know what I mean? It's something where it's like, and he, like, has, like, he finally lets down the facade of, like, I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was, like, overly, like,
The thing is, though, I think it's because I don't think it's a facade. Like, I think that's what they're. I don't think Romulans are bullshitting.
I just wish that he was, like, a freshly faced rookie. Like,
Yeah.
a scared rookie.
Oh, then he definitely would have been killed when he got back.
Exactly.
Your first mission, you work with a human.
Yeah, but I just wish, like, a little, like, something,
Yeah.
like, something breaks in the Romulan facade where, like, one of them's, like, just brand new, like, first day on the job, and, first mission, yay, and that happens where it's like, I'm fucking scared, man. You know what I'm saying?
Or even just his genuine shock in Geordi saving his life and willing to help him, because, from the Romulan perspective, it's not like they're dealing with humans and Starfleet all the time. Like, it's just as rare for them as it is for humans to deal with Romulans. So, even if he had been around, a while, this might be his first real interaction with a human, and for it to be the human saving his life and doing everything he can to help him, that might have shocked him and been like, I didn't think a human would be like this. Like, he would have thought the human would be just as aggressive towards him. Again, didn't have the time. Maybe if the whole episode was them down on the planet, we could have gotten more.
That would have been so nice. I mean,
but I loved all the ship stuff too.
The ship stuff was good too. Damn it,
yeah.
It's like, there's only 45 minutes. Great appearance of the legendary Andreas Katsoulas as Commander Tomalak. Babylon 5 regulars will have already picked up on his distinctive voice, and here he chews the scenery as a Romulan. Honestly, a good to great episode that deals with the saber-rattling acts of provocation, diplomacy, and seeing the enemy as another person rather than dehumanizing them. That's a great take.
Yeah, and that's funny. I didn't notice that, but yeah, he played Jakar in Babylon 5. He was the most standout to me in the Babylon 5 The Gathering. Obviously we didn't watch the actual show, but I think he's most known for that. But there you go, some Star Trek Babylon 5 crossover. Maybe we'll get there one day when we're struggling for views, but no, I know there are definitely some patrons who would love us to dive in, but we just don't have the time, unfortunately, right now.
We're doing Battlestar Galactica. Be happy with that. I love this episode. After barely giving Geordi stuff to do, we get back-to-back Geordi eps. But it's the Worf B story I am very fond of. The show doesn't take the easy way out and makes a very bold decision. Hell yeah, that's a great choice. Doesn't take the easy way out. Just keeps, like, adding, like, just, like, how can we make this more difficult?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if someone said the Geordi element was their favorite part of this one, or the Worf element, or the Picard element and Cold War element. It's literally 3 great different storylines that merge together at some points, but also tell their own story. I can't think of a better way to do a Star Trek story.
Yeah. How did the Romulan know how Geordi's tech worked?
Oh boy. These are the patron takes for the price. A great Troy episode. Troy is tired and a bit in need of shore leave, and Ral is just the distraction she needs. Even though Ral is accused of using her, you have to stop and think of how she uses him for an escape. Riker has a couple fine moments here as he truly wants Troy to be happy. Even though this episode has no classic value, it is an example of a character episode where one character is explored and given some time to shine. Watching Troy go from overworked and stressed to romanced and then given mental clarity is a great watch. I agree with all of that. Great take.
It's a great point. Yeah, I agree with. I have nothing to counter that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I love the point he says about how Troy is also using Ral, because he says to her something along the lines of I'm harder to read than your other men, and she says there are no other men currently. Like, Riker has been sleeping with all these women, and Troy hasn't really gotten any that we've seen.
Yeah, let her get out there too. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, the last I think we saw, she had a baby, and she didn't even have sex with anyone. She just had a baby. Yeah, yeah. I'm all for letting Troy have a good time and get her some chocolate ice cream. Damn it! To quote the great historical scholar, the angry video game nerd, "What a piece of shit." Best scene is Riker putting douchebag face in his place and demonstrating what based looks like. I will remove that responsibility right now. If there is such a thing as a Chad move, Riker just demonstrated it. Lesser men would have put his face through the table like.
I don't think this is a piece of shit.
I wouldn't say a piece of shit. No, just an oddball. I'd say in terms of editing structure and all that. But I read this because of based and Chad. Because
just put in any brain rot terms.
we'll
read your take.
Just capitalize any brain rot terms. I'm gonna look for it and read it.
Prediction: Troy and Crusher's calisthenics routine will be one of your biggest WTF moments in any reaction so far, and may become the subject of the YouTube thumbnail. No, it will not.
Yeah, the thumbnail is going to be Beverly in her yoga outfit.
No, it will not.
And me going like,
pass on that one. But
we're not going there. No,
it wasn't a WTF in like visual reaction, but I think we were just both.
I was
uncomfortable. I was just like, what's happening?
There was a couple moments where I'm like, I don't feel safe.
And you thought the douchebag from episode 1 was the worst. He was. Dr. Stubbs was far worse than this guy. See, this is the difference for me. Dr. Stubbs was just like, I didn't feel like he even belonged in the show, like in this universe. He was just like out of place. As to where this guy, I thought, played his role perfectly, and I loved to hate him. He's such a hateable guy, but also made good points. I thought Dr. Stubbs, thought he was on the wrong show or something. So people were, commenting, because that episode has gone up now, like, oh, actually the actor did a really good job because you hated him. It's like, no, I'm not fucking stupid. I understand that I'm not supposed to like him. I didn't enjoy the performance. Like, it's a little bit deeper than that.
It's like that famous wrestling sign. I'm not booing you because of your good heel work. I'm booing you because I genuinely do not like you.
Yeah, exactly. It's go away heat.
Go away, X-Pac heat. Has your opinion of the Ferengi changed or perhaps become more nuanced since we first saw them in early season 1? Between this and peak performance, I like the Ferengi much better as an episode-level nuisance rather than some major player on the galactic stage like the Romulans. I'm glad the TNG writing staff nerfed the Ferengi rather than got rid of them entirely when the original plan to have them as the big bad didn't work out. Yeah, that's a great take. I think they totally figured out the Ferengi as just like a simple nuisance to help elevate and push a plot forward. I love them as just like a small inconvenience to the fact that they weren't even invited to this council. Oh, Enterprise, why didn't you invite us? It's like, oh god. It's like I love them for that, and I'm glad they're not, a Romulan, whatever level nuisance. I think they. Great choice.
Yeah, I think this episode is like exactly how to use the Ferengi. Like, they weren't even invited to this thing. They just show up and they're like, okay, sure. And then they just do no freaking, they're just up to no good. They poison the one guy. They get trapped in the wormhole. Like, they're great.
It's like their Team Rocket or something.
Yeah.
It's like, exactly. They get blasted away.
Yeah, this is from James Goss. I don't see my name often in TV movies, so imagine my surprise hearing it on TNG as a kid, but it's a slimy little Ferengi. If I ever met Frakes at a convention, I'd ask him to yell, "Then send in your own probe, Goss!" at me. That's so awesome. I'm glad for you, James. That's sweet.
That's great. And we forgot about that scene, too, when Riker yells at him. It's just so loud. If there's one thing I like about this episode, it's that it finally established what the hell a quadrant is. We learned that the galaxy is divided into 4 quadrants: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. This little tidbit is all I remember, seemingly having blocked out all the tripod, body oils, and all. Okay, the galaxy is divided into 4 quadrants, then.
That makes sense. Quadrant, I mean, I would assume so.
Yeah. Where's the neutral zone?
True. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I'm going to... You know what? I'm going to download this episode and study it very, very, very closely. Just to...
All right, we're done. Season's not been a roller coaster as much as season 2. The quality, I would agree, has definitely gone up, but I'm ready for a banger. I'm ready for something amazing. Oh my god, dude. Let's go! Oh my god.
Holy shit.
We're doing Battlestar Galactica. Be happy with that.